top producers slash singers slash rappers of all time. So this is actually a topic. I'm gonna give you credit for this topic. For all that Kanye talk, who's a producer slash rapper. Dr. Dre was in the Super Bowl. That's another producer slash rapper. Who are some of your favorite in the game? I know I just named two for you. But who are some of your favorite? Personal favorite? Who you think is the best? Et cetera, et cetera.
So look, this topic has really been kind of weighing on me just because I be sitting back and I'm like, bro, like we talk about how people are great rappers all day. Then we also separate and we talk about how people are great producers. But rarely do people take time to really appreciate the people who do both at a high level. Like it just doesn't have. We don't take the time as a community to really do that. And I wanted to take this time on this topic to really show some love to some people who have been doing it at a high level for a while now. And really, I'll say it like this: I separate this particular pool of rappers slash producers or artists slash producers into like two tiers, right? The first tier to me is rappers, or at least producers rather, who've made songs for other people, right? Like not only have they rapped at a high level on their beats, they've also provided beats to other people at a high level, right? And so Kanye West, Dr. Dre come to mind. There's a couple others which I'll get into in a few. But then the second tier to me is the tier of producers who are just amazing at rapping over their own beats, right? There's literally two and so I'll start with tier two. I'll start with tier one for me. Dr. Dre up there, right? We all know Dr. Dre didn't write his own raps, same with Ye. We all know historically Kanye West didn't write his own raps and probably still doesn't write them all. But we don't care. You know why? Because he's such an amazing producer. And even when he raps, he has his own swag and persona. And he really leaves that on those songs that we end up hearing. But here are some names that really don't get talked about. Timberland. We all know Timberland and Magoots. Timberland to me is
Timberland did rap.
Is like
he did.
But see, remember, this ain't just about rap. It's about artistry, right? So whether it was you singing or whatever, we think about Timberland, we think about Pharrell, right? Think about, I'll give you some other names that maybe weren't as successful per se, but like Manny Fresh, somebody who did have a lot of success in this name, Jermaine Dupree, right? Like these are people who like legitimately, when they put out their songs of their own, it was highly respected. And then they also provided beats of their own to other people and made other people hits and millionaires and so on and so forth. I'm sure you guys can think of mad other names, but I'm just trying to give you guys an example of a little taste of where I'm going with this. Now, this is where it gets tricky.
Well, there's some names, before you go to tier two, there's some names that you're missing out.
Go ahead, throw some names.
Need to put respect on. Juicy J. Juicy J does beats for people.
I love it.
He does, and he raps all the time. So Juicy J is one. You know somebody who never gets talked about? Puff Daddy. Puff Daddy, when nobody talks about, Puff Daddy was on a hit streak from 1997 of his own solo cuts, like All About the Benjamins. That's his song. Missing You, that's his song, and he helped produce that. So those are two, especially Juicy J as of late. Definitely forgotten about.
Thank you for bringing up Diddy. He was actually on my list. I just forgot to mention him. Here's another person that gets respected a lot that I didn't necessarily grow up with per se, but his name is in the conversation a lot. Jay Dilla.
Oh, yeah.
Jay Dilla is one of them names that's going to go down in history. He's already in history books. People will put respect on his name at a high level. But I want to go to tier two real quick because this is where it gets controversial. Number one on my list is Eminem.
That's a good one.
Is a phenomenal rapper. We all know what Eminem has brought to the table, but we also know Eminem made his own beats. But I gotta be honest, I think Eminem beats is borderline trash for the most part. I'm respectfully, he got a couple joints. He got a couple good ones that he gave to 50 on the first album. He got some co-production credits on a few songs. But for the most part, Eminem is one of them dudes who makes beats for himself and like D12 and the people in his own crew. He don't really have a whole lot of beats he's given to other people that have ended up being big records, in my opinion.
Okay.
Second on that list, J. Cole. J. Cole, we all remember J. Cole used to produce his own stuff. He's notorious for saying, you know, I went platinum without a feature. He's notorious for this. And then he eventually got out of that streak, started making songs with other people, and we all know he's on a feature run right now, right? But if you remember Forest Hills Drive, pre-KOD rather, Forest Hills Drive is probably the last album that J. Cole really, really was producing every song, and they all were hitting for his own records. But he's never been that type of producer that really gives his music to other people, and you see that sound materialize to other people. I got a couple other names. I'll be really quick with this. Russ is another. Russ makes his own beats. Russ is now being more respected for his lyricism, rightfully so. He's upped his game. But a lot of people don't know Russ makes his own beats historically, right? And so Tyler the Creator is another. I got mad names, but I want to know what you think, Hugh.
Tyler the Creator is one.
I got a lot of names, bro.
We forgot to mention
telling
Pharrell. I mean, obviously that's
no. I mentioned Pharrell.
Okay, Pharrell.
You damn right.
I mean, you got the big names. I mean, David Banner. Remember him? He used to do beats for people. He actually did some, really good beats for people. Some historic beats. He did. And he was a rapper.
Made it on Lollipop. He was on Lollipop. I think he produced.
No, I think you knocked out most of the people. I mean, Missy Elliot. I know Missy Elliot did some stuff here and there for herself, particularly.
Absolutely.
Eminem actually produced Renegade. Do. That's probably his best beat. But I think you knocked it out. I mean, there's Raekwon. You can talk about all them people on the Wu-Tang that did their own thing.
You know who don't get talked about enough?
Who's that?
And I left him out on accident. Swiss Beats.
Oh, Swiss Beats used to rap, but a little bit.
Now, Swiss Beats as a rapper was
he had his moments. He had his moments.
He had a few moments, but it wasn't a whole lot.
So the question is, should these producer/rappers be at a higher regard than people that just rapped? Like, and at the end of the day, like J. Cole, yeah, Kendrick Lamar is great. Yeah, Drake is great. But J. Cole was making his own beats and rapping. Like, do you give points for that? Is that something that, puts J. Cole over both of them?
Well, look, honestly, man, that's a tough question. I'm gonna be honest with you. Because when it comes to, if you're asking me to evaluate people as an artist, right? Then I kind of have to give somebody who produces and raps or sings at a high level. I kind of have to elevate them in a way, just because we all know production is such an important aspect of music. I mean, shit, you and I on this podcast, I think it was when Donda dropped, we were talking about how important production is. I think I said 70%. Like the production is about 70% of a song. I think that's what I said.
Is production.
Right. And so when you break it down on that level, like, how can you not elevate somebody who does both? You know what I'm saying? But I also don't want to take away from people who only rap and act like they are not a very important aspect of the music. It's a tough question, but the people who do it at a very high level, you got to give them props over just the rappers.
Let me just be villainous for a second so that people can like me some more. I do wish that, we heard more. If J. Cole in the beginning was working with, big name producers, he might have been even bigger, as crazy as that sounds. Because J. Cole was just kind of rapping over regular beats. But like if he was rapping over like remember Justice League and beats and all that stuff and was actually relying on other producers, who knows what his career could have been. So maybe him producing actually helped hold him back. I don't think so. I'm just playing devil's advocate. But that could be a sense where, maybe that actually was detrimental. Same thing with Eminem. Maybe Eminem doing his own beats was actually detrimental to his career. So, I don't know.
Detrimental? If anything, I would say the worse you are, and at least in this case, the people who are not as great at making beats end up being the better rapper.
Hey, man.
You know what I'm saying? It's like a give and take. But anyway, let's keep it moving though, man.